you hopping on this call with me today. The reason I wanted to have this conversation with you is because you took my program, but you chose a much different path than most of my students take. And I thought, this would be an interesting conversation to have because it might open up the possibilities or give other people an idea of another path they could take, another option, if they themselves aren't ready wholeheartedly, fully to jump in and start a business, running a business on their own with no support. And so I wanted to have this conversation with you. So just to give a quick backstory, Callie enrolled in my program a couple months ago now, and she uh, took a different path. Instead of launching her own business, she decided to work with her cousin, Ashley, who also was once a student of Real Advisors a couple of years ago. She today has grown her business to the six-figure per month level. She's crushed it in multiple markets throughout the country. She was even a coach for Real Advisors for quite some time. And instead of Callie starting this on her own, she thought, maybe I go align with my cousin who lives in the same area she does and, earn while she's learning and provide some great support and another resource to the company. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So Kelly, let's pick up from there. Let's talk about what your experience was like in the program, first of all. And I appreciate you, by the way, because as of today, you have voluntarily, without us asking, sent a handful of students over to us. I think 3 or 4 students have
Yes.
either gone through or about to go through our program because of you. And so I appreciate that. But I want to have you share from your own mouth, from your um, own personal experience, what the program was like for you.
Okay. So I took Dolmar's program back in September of 2021. It was a 3-day course. It was really intense, a lot of information in those 3 days, but it was definitely, I enjoyed the course. I love the way that that Delmar focuses on mindset and focuses on losing motivation because you do go through that while, you know what I'm saying, trying this out on your own, which it happened to me as well. Um, but definitely it was one of the best decisions I decided to make, and I don't regret it.
Awesome. So why real estate for you? Why did you want to transition from what you were doing before? And maybe share what you were doing before too. Why did you want to transition from that career to real estate?
Okay. So I was basically working in the medical field. I have 2 degrees. I have an associate's in applied science and medical assisting, and I have a bachelor's in criminal justice. I went through quite a few medical issues. I shared in the class where, I beat cancer, and I also got into a car accident, about a year after that, where I lost a piece of my liver. So I was down for about 3 years of my life. And, I decided I wanted to change. And I was kind of like sick and tired of being sick and tired, and me not being able to work while being sick and not being able to provide for my son and having to depend on people was just like too much for me. So, it kind of motivated me to kind of like switch over careers and look for something that I would be able to like build and leave something for my son, you know? And real estate is is that field.
Yes, yes, it certainly can be that vehicle for you.
Mhm,
And, I follow you on social media and I've
mhm,
been watching your growth, your journey. And one of the things I love that you've already started doing shortly after the class was you started sharing your journey from day one. The first week, you're sharing screenshots of your computer, your monitor, your setup, your dollar system, showing the stats, the amount of calls you were making, the people you were talking to, the good, the bad, everything. And quickly, in a very short amount of time, you started rallying some women together that were jumping on Zoom calls with you, trying to get some insights about what you're
mhm.
doing. And some of those women have come to the program as well. And so I want you now to share in this format, in this conversation we're having, what was that first experience like the first week? Because again, you chose to work with your cousin, Ashley, to help her continue to grow her organization and business. And even though you chose that path, the opportunity that's been given to you is still a nice potential 6-figure per year opportunity, right?
Yes.
And so what was the first week and first month like for you?
Okay. So I'm gonna give you like a little rundown of my journey from taking your class to working with Ashley.
Sure.
So I took your class in September 2021. After I took your class, I try to jump into the field by myself and implement everything I learned in the class, which, I created a business Facebook page. I started, networking, jumping in these groups and just posting and trying to, build a buyer's list and just implement everything. I didn't feel comfortable on the phone because even though you give everything in the class from like A to Z, I just still didn't, I had all the information, but I just didn't know how it came together. I lost my motivation and I got a little bit desperate. I had 3 years I wasn't working, so I began to apply for hospital jobs. I got hired in a hospital job for 26.50 an hour, full benefits. And at that same time was when my cousin Ashley offered me a position in her job, which I had to take a pay cut because the salary was a pay cut. But I already knew in my heart that that was like, that's where I had to go because I knew that even though I was taking a pay cut, I knew that it was in the future, it was going to benefit me in the long run, in which it has. I started working with Ashley at the ending. I started training with her at the ending of November, and I technically started working for her December 10th. From December 10th till now, we've had more than 10 properties on contract. You know, I've had I've had more than 5 commission checks. I do, since I don't get the properties on contract myself, I lead manage, I get a percentage. But now I've also been promoted to closer, which I will be the one getting the property on contract. So my commissions will double. So I'm not receiving the whole assignment fee, but I'm still getting a commissions, which I still end up pulling at least almost 6 figures a month, an income tax check a month, you can say.
No,
um,
that's amazing. This is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because it
it's
could be an
still life
option.
changing. I'm still
Yeah.
able, you know what I'm saying? As
Yeah, and when you're working with a good organization like Ashley's, who
yes.
she has everything figured out, she has the systems, the processes, and so forth. It's easy to plug into an existing operation like that and
Mhm.
quickly scale and still make some really good income for yourself as well. So that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because again,
Mhm.
you chose a much different path than most people do. So I want to rewind a little bit and unpack a little bit more of what you said, just so that there's absolute clarity in this conversation, so people
Mhm.
watching this will understand what happened here. So starting with her cousin Ashley, after the program she went through with us, she started doing what's called cold calling, basically lead managing leads. So she would make phone calls to lists that were pulled from the company and try to identify people who would raise their hand and have interest in possibly selling their house. And then the organization would send those warm leads now to a closer, who would then have a conversation with that homeowner and see if there can be an opportunity or deal worked out where it's a win-win-win solution for all parties involved. The seller gets some money in their pocket, stops their financial bleeding, or stops whatever problem that they're going through at that point in time in their life. The company gets a nice deal under contract that they can now wholesale to a buyer and get paid a nice fee for that. Out of that fee, Callie here gets a percentage for opening up that lead, bringing that opportunity. So that opportunity would not have come if it wasn't for a direct result of Callie opening up that lead, warming up that lead, and then
Yes.
bringing it to the closer, who then gets another commission because he was able to get that deal under contract. And then when the company sells it through their disposition process and team, that person gets a commission as well. And whatever is left over
Yes.
from that, the company,
Everybody gets
yeah,
commission.
everybody gets paid. And so now the commission is small. It starts out smaller, but grows as you climb the rungs of the ladder in
Exactly.
the company. So now you've recently been promoted to closer,
Closer.
so your commission is going to grow now. But
Mhm.
let's talk about the opportunities you brought to the company so far. So you said you, since you've been working here, you, because of a direct result of your efforts, have brought about 10 opportunities to the company.
Yes.
I know I may maybe catching you on the spot right now, but
Mhm.
do you have an idea of what that turned into gross profit wise for the company?
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know Out of about 10 contracts, 2 of them died. We had one contract that just closed last week that the profit was 47,000 for the company, just off that one contract.
And that was
We've
one that
had,
you opened up, right?
yeah, that was one, yeah. Then we had another one close that was $27,000. So his, because he works on building rapport, so his average size, contract size is in the 20s. So we do but our contracts are anywhere between 10 to 50,000 right now.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
So you don't
Right
know,
now,
so you don't know the numbers on all the deals, but two of them,
yeah.
you know, 47 on one, 20 something thousand on the other one. That's
Mhm.
pretty good. Uh,
Yeah,
wow. So it shows the possibilities of what could be at least, right?
yeah.
And how many markets are you working in right now?
We're currently in 3 markets. We're in Philly, Baltimore, and in Trenton,
And you're doing this virtually.
virtually. All from my living room. And I started with a laptop. I started with $0. I started broke. Dolmar. You already know I sat in and I did my little schemes to get in your class twice. We're not gonna get into that. I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but I made it happen though,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, I'm super proud of you, and I'm super proud of the journey you've
mm,
had so far and the growth you've had. And so I've been able to sit back as a fly on the wall, watching you on social media share your journey. And that's why I wanted to hop on here and have this conversation with you, because I'm inspired by you. You are a testament to women, especially, that it doesn't matter what you might be lacking in life right now, whether it's financially or otherwise, if you have the drive, the will, the determination, if you're consistent and you're persistent, if you get rid of any excuses that you have, you can be successful at this. And you sent people to our program that you wanted to
yes.
also lift up. You wanted to
I
give them
sent
an opportunity as
another
well.
cousin, and she's
Yeah,
actually got her second property on contract, which she's about to make a 10K profit. Stephanie, on the mobile home,
yeah.
she actually got it to drop, and she has a buyer for it.
That's what's up. So here's the thing. So she has a cousin that she referred to this as well. That's what she's talking about.
Mm,
And her cousin's about to close her second deal. But I think she has others in the pipeline as well that she's working also.
yeah,
And you've
and
also,
she's doing it alone.
yeah, and she started alone. And so again, it's up to you. At the end of the day, the program goes through the entire A to Z blueprint of the entire business. But you get to choose which path you want to take.
Exactly.
Some people do nothing, and hopefully that's not you. Right. And I'm talking to people that are going to watch this video. Hopefully that's not you, right? You're not an average
Mhm.
person that puts forth average effort. If you do that, well, nothing's going to really work. Or the other option is go do this on your own, start this life changing business, or you can maybe work with someone else, align yourself with someone else,
Exactly.
like Callie did. Again, you're the first person I think who has done that, at least that I know of. But when you did it, I was like, that's interesting. Um, we should talk about that and see if others might be interested in doing something as well, going down that path, because you're still
Yeah.
making money, you're also earning while you learn, and you're opening up new possibilities for
Mhm.
yourself, and still making really good money in the process.
And
So
still making really good money in the
yeah.
process.
So what would you say to someone that might be on the fence, thinking about enrolling, thinking about jumping into this business? What would you say to them? Because we say some things that sound far-fetched. They sound like too good to be true when we say, hey, you can do this virtually. It works and you can do this from anywhere in the world. You don't need money to get started. You don't need to use your own money to get started. You don't need credit. You don't need to personally see the houses in person. You don't need to use no construction knowledge or know-how, because you're literally flipping this right here, right? A piece of
Paper.
paper, right? And so I know it sounds crazy, but has this been your experience working with your cousin? Is this exactly how it goes down in that operation as well?
Yeah, it's exactly how it goes down. Everything is virtually. It's crazy. I would have never thought a few months ago that I would have been working and making this amount of money from home and for myself. And the advice I will give to anybody out there is, go for it, jump into it. You're gonna lose motivation. That's just a part of everything in life. You start something, you lose motivation, some type of motivation somewhere down the line, but you gotta find your why gotta be stronger than your excuses.
Right.
And, my why was definitely stronger than my excuses. And, if I was able to do it, anybody could do it. You could put your mind to it. I didn't know anything about real estate. I jumped into a whole new career and just like went full throttle in it.
Yeah, you are so right when you say your why has to be bigger than your excuses, because Callie is giving you a heads up on this. This is like any other business. Now you can treat it like a hobby, and people make good money in this business treating it like a hobby. And a hobby is maybe doing this business part-time, maybe 1 or 2 deals a month. And even with 1 or 2 deals a month, with the average profit being around $10,000, that's still good income,
It's still
right?
good.
But this is like any other business. If you treat it like a business, your outcome is directly tied to your input. And with any business, there are challenges. And so what Callie's trying to give you a heads up about is it's not a matter of if, but when the challenges, the tests, the trials, the adversity, the setbacks, all of that come your way, how are you going to react? How are you going to perform? Are you going to be able to problem solve? Are you going to be able to think outside the box, get creative, be resourceful? Right. And
Yes.
the only way you can do that is by having a positive mindset, what we call a producer mindset. And also, in addition to that, having a really strong relationship with your why, because it is your why that's going to keep you motivated, empowered, inspired to keep moving forward, even when those shady people, sometimes shady investors, try to steal your deal,
Yes.
like they did to your cousin. Right?
Yes. They stole one of my cousin's deals. You
Yeah.
gotta it gets real crazy in this game. We
Yeah.
talking about $10,000, so they get hungry out there.
Yeah. So how are you going to react when, unfortunately, the bad apples in our industry might try to do that?
Yep.
Or your deal falls apart. The buyer gets up and walks away. What's going to keep you motivated? It's that mindset and a really strong relationship with your why you started in the first place. You know that if I don't show up today, I'm not going to be able to create this lifestyle and freedom that I promised myself. I'm going to still be building someone else's empire and dream. I'm not going to be able to spend more time with my kids, my family, my loved ones. I'm not going to be able to travel and experience this fun-filled life that anyone can live and should live, because I didn't show up, right? I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. I'm going to continue to be a slave. I'm not going to be able to build that legacy and break generational curses I promised myself. So, what is it that's going to keep you motivated? It's your why. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because it is that. You could have almost given up. You could have almost thrown in the
And now
towel.
it's like this.
Right? And
I
now,
got hired like into a hospital that I've had years trying to get into. So it was like, I'm like, this is the devil. This is the devil.
and now here you are, and you have zero regrets making that
Zero
decision not to take
regrets.
that job.
And I took a pay cut.
Nice, nice, and no regrets still.
No regrets
But here's the thing: you took a pay cut to start, but
to start.
now
It's
that
bad. It suppresses.
surpasses, right? It's going to
Yeah,
surpass.
surpasses. Sorry.
It's going to surpass what you could have
Mhm.
made.
So that's just something to hold, until the good stuff, the juicy stuff comes in. Until you build your pipeline.
And you're still closing juicy deals now, or you're about to
Yes.
start
I
closing juicy
have two.
deals.
So we have two that are mine on contract this month. So a projected profit of 25,000. In
Each?
between two, one is 10 and one is 10 and one is they're little contracts. These are the smallest ones actually that we've gotten since I've started.
Not bad. It's still going to be a nice commission to you as well
Mhm.
on
I
those.
started in December 10th, actually on the phones. And by the ending of December, I had my first two properties on contract that I was lead managing.
That's amazing. I want to talk about that real quick, because one of the things we talk about is taking massive action. Again, your output is directly tied to your input. But what does taking action really mean? Why don't you share with everyone what the numbers look like? Because you shared this on social media, but I want you to share in this conversation. How many dials and phone calls and conversations were you having each week, each day, each week, each month?
Each day I was having more than 200. I was dialing out more than 200 to 400 calls a day minimum. And the other day I was like testing myself. I did 1,000 in a day. I
Wow.
did almost 4,000 in a week. I be just putting like little goals for myself, but minimum I do to 200 to 400 dials a day.
And that is resulting in these really big checks for the
Yes.
organization.
So you
And
have to
so,
be on the phones a lot. This is not oh, let me make 5 phone calls. That's it. You got to
exactly.
be really lucky, like, like playing the lottery to get a deal off of those 5 phone calls.
Yeah. And so one of the things I want to mention as well is obviously you're working in an organization right now with your cousin, but your cousin was also once in your seat. Your cousin was also
Yes.
doing all of this herself as well.
Yes.
Now she's grown her organization to the point where she has multiple people working with her on her team. She's no longer the one making these
She's
phone calls.
growing. She's making it a full-fledged company. So
Yeah.
I was like her first lead manager hire. And I'm right now producing as if 2 lead managers are working.
Yeah, you're putting up
Yeah.
some really big numbers. And so when you get to a certain point in this business, you can start to hire and recruit, train and manage other people to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So Ashley right now is no longer opening up phone calls. She's no longer the one closing the deals. She's no longer the one dispositioning the deals. She's, basically the
She's
reviewer and not
slowly,
the doer.
taking herself out, even though she plays all the roles still, but
Yeah, she can. She has the knowledge. She has the insight to do it. Right. She's a real operator. So she can play any of the roles any day that she wants to, but she's more so the reviewer now than the doer. And so eventually anyone can get to that level as well, where, you're not the one making all these phone calls every day. Your virtual assistant can do that for you. Acquisitions rep can close the deals for you. Your sales manager can sell the deals for you. And everybody gets a piece of the action. Yes, you're making less money, but you're making up that money in volume.
yes.
A lot more deals, also in multiple markets as well. And so, Callie, I just wanted to say, awesome story. And I'm going to continue to track your journey, your progress. I want you to keep me informed on the results that you're doing. And I'm super proud of you and the example that you're especially setting for women out there that they can do this. There are other opportunities out there. So last question for you then is what's a goal for you now? What's a big goal for you going forward?
Going forward, I have a lot of goals. But one of the main things is taking my son out of where I live now, because it's a really bad neighborhood. That's my main goal for this year. Once I change his environment, then I'm gonna, focus on getting rentals. So Ashley's gonna help me like get into the rental business.
Awesome. And start getting some passive income.
Yes.
That's amazing. And you see a clear path to that possibility through this business.
Yes, definitely. I already know by December I'm moving out, and it's just the funds are coming in, so
it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. So I'm super happy for you. And I know your story, and thank you for sharing your story again. And just knowing your story, your background, the struggles that you've had, seeing what you're actualizing now, I'm so happy for you. And I can't wait to see the new possibilities that you create for yourself. Starting with changing your environment, getting your son in a much better environment, that's going to help him in so many different ways. And you yourself, you're going to continue to grow and expand, and new doors and possibilities are going to open up for you as well. So, Callie, thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for also being so open and loud about what you're doing, and also sending other people to us so that we can collectively together, you and I, positively impact their lives as well, and show them that there is a way out. There is another way. It's your moment. This is your time, and you can become whoever you want to be and live the life that you deserve to live and actually have success through this opportunity. So really appreciate you for sharing your story. Thank you so much.
Hey, Dolmar Cross here. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to drop a like and comment if you enjoyed it. And by the way, I have so much more amazing, sexy content coming up on real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and so much more. So be sure to subscribe, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss another video or upload. And by the way, follow me on Instagram as well. It's Dolmar Cross on Instagram, so you don't want to miss any of my content there either. And finally, check out automatedinvestor.com if you want to learn more about real estate investing, how you can get started with no money, no credit, no real estate license, so you can also change your life and make a lot of money in the process, all right? Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.